Hi guys, good morning. So I don't want to be too rambly, but today I wanted to film like a day in the life of a kindergarten teacher and like tips and tricks that I picked up along the way of my first year of teaching. Now the problem is that school is already out, and ideally I would have done this, like I thought about doing it while the kids were still in school, but at the same time that would have made it hard because things are just always more like stressful, and you have to be more like on top of your game when you only have X amount of time in between whatever until the kids are back in the room and stuff. So today is actually the last like teacher work day, but I'm just gonna walk you through my schedule like as if the kids were still there. So we are pulling into school now, just like I do, not every day, but on like certain special days. I got myself a nice espresso drink, ready to fuel myself up, but for sure caffeine is a integral part, is that the word? Is an integral part to teaching for me personally. Okay, let's go. Kindergarten, yay. So typically when I come in the morning, I have already left out like all the kids' morning work on their desks. Again, there aren't any real kids here right now, so that's not a thing. But I definitely learned that, I'm looking for my plan book, that just having like that small step set out ahead of time just makes you feel better, and is it the end of the world if you need to like do it in the morning or have a kid lay it out when they get here? No, but I just think it's like in your best interest to have that set up so that when you walk in, it already helps your mindset be like, okay, I'm good, On that same note, one other thing I really like to have taken care of ahead of time. I think certain schools are different in terms of like planning with your grade level or whatever. We don't really do that, or we didn't really do that here at my school where I taught for the first year. But what I like to do is have like a rough draft outline of my plans for the week. But then the night before, like before I leave school, after one day, I like to make sure that I know what I'm doing the next day, and also that I know what I'm going to need. So if I'm going to need to make copies for that, I either take care of it already or I make myself a little note. So on the side of my plan book here, I'll make notes of like, okay, on Monday through Friday, and then like on Tuesday, you're gonna need to make copies of that phonics lesson or that math lesson or whatever, so that when I come in the mornings, I'm not wasting time like figuring out what I have to do. I just know what I have to do. Another tip or thing that works for me is to come early. I think that all depends on what time your school starts and what time like the teachers are expected to be there. We were only expected to be here 10 minutes before the kids got here. And for me, that just wasn't enough time. So I always came at the beginning of the year, I would come a solid hour earlier than that time. So like 70 minutes before the kids got here. And then as the year went on, it really just depended. You knew when you had days where you didn't have to be there quite as early or whatever. But definitely, I think it's better to get here earlier rather than later. Another thing for me personally, I think every style is different, but I really love music. I always have loved music, and so I kind of wanted to incorporate that a lot in my classroom. So, let's pretend I've been here, I'm preparing, I'm setting things up, I'm getting myself situated, checking my email, all that. Then when the kids actually get in, I bought myself a handy Bluetooth speaker.
Powering on. Welcome to Alltech Lansing.
And I really recommend it. It's really helpful to be able to, if you want to use music, it's really nice just to have that Bluetooth capability where I can easily connect from my phone. I used to find that in the mornings, I would mix up the type of music I would play. I would usually play like kids pop, like Kids Bop or whatever, clean, obviously kindergarten school friendly pop music, because I love pop music and I love trendy music. But I used to find that would kind of amp them up a little bit. I had a very, very chatty group this year, and just in general, obviously with such a young age, they can get wired up or fired up, whatever. So I made the switch, and what I would do, even when I would play like Disney music, I just found that it could be a little too much. So what I would do is I would play, let me show you an example. I would play piano versions of the music. So if it was like pop and I wanted to listen to pop, they have plenty of like piano covers out there. Or if I wanted to listen to Disney, and I just found that by having like that piano more soft, smooth, it was like a much more calming environment for the morning. So that was one little tip that I learned. I even played like Queen, like if I wanted like a different style of music. There's a ton of piano covers. I use Spotify, but I'm sure other like streaming services or whatever, even YouTube like has different piano covers. So that's my little hack. So the kids are here, okay, then they do their morning work, then we get ready. One thing that my mentor teacher when I was student teaching gifted to me was a bell, and this is something I would use a lot to signal the kids' attention. They knew that whenever that bell rang, they needed to stop, put their hands up in the air or on their head so that it forced them to stop doing whatever they were doing and listen to an announcement. It might mean, okay, it's time to push in your chairs and let's go to breakfast. It might mean, oh wait, let me tell you a really quick instruction. It could mean anything, but they just knew that that's what the bell meant. Now, next year and like moving forward, I definitely would spend more time really drilling that in, and like I need to be less lenient with like when they stop, but they really are still coloring or whatever. Like I really want to spend more time on the front half, really setting up those rules and the expectations, because for me, I was navigating my first year. And so I would kind of figure some of this stuff out as I went. And then I think I felt like it was already, I don't know if it was too far gone or not too far gone, but you know what I mean? I would be like, oh, well, I've already been a little bit lax, or I don't know. I mean, these are just minor things that I think you learn, and then I'm going to like fine tune for next year. But yeah, so far, these are all the tips I have. Get here early, set your stuff out the night before, and just make sure you know what you're doing. Play soft music, use some type of signal, okay? Now, I'm going to go do some work, and then I will be back on to kind of explain some next steps. It's not so much about like what the schedule is, because everyone's going to have a different schedule based on like their school and stuff like that. But it's more just like things you can do no matter what type of schedule or school you have, you know? So I'm going to get some work done, and I will see you in a little bit. I forgot one more thing. This next tip is going to be a little bit more on like I don't want this fan to be blowing, I guess like superficial side or like whatever vanity side of things. But I recommend, can you see, decorating your space. And it can be hard. Sorry, I'm out of frame. It can be hard because kids get into things, and it just depends on what kind of classroom you have and what types of, certain students might tear things down sometimes, or things might happen. But for me, it was really nice just to have some cute little like cards. And this is a crayon wreath that was made for me when I was student teaching, and it just makes it feel like mine, and it just makes me happy. My classroom's kind of a mess right now because stuff has already started to come down. So again, I didn't like do this in an ideal setting where it was like where I was showing you what my fully functioning classroom looked like, but still. You can see up above those cabinets, I actually have lights that go up there. They're just not turned on. And then I have different cute little snow globes and picture frames from when I worked at Disney. Like, it's just a nice way for me to display those things. Obviously, if you need to use that for storage space, then you need to use that as storage space, and that takes precedence. But it's just really nice for me to have like this decorated, kind of like uniquely me touch about it. And then the other thing I was going to recommend, but this definitely depends, I think, on your school, the culture of your school, your principal, and like the teachers around you in the hallway and stuff, but is to have smelly good things. So this here is a wax warmer. This one is from Bath & Body Works, but they sell them everywhere, like Target, Walmart, Amazon, whatever. And you can also get wax from almost anywhere. And I just love having things in here that make the room smell good. Now, throughout the year, I've used like room sprays. I've used like the little wallflower plugins from Bath & Body. But again, you can get those, like Glade makes them, etc. I mean, I recommend the Bath & Body ones over those, but hey. But the wax warmer is my favorite. And you definitely, again, want to make sure that you're not like offending other people, and that you don't get anything too strong or too potent or too crazy. But like the kids seem to really like it, and even the other teachers in the hallway. There's another teacher down the hall from me who does this, and I just love it. I mean, again, that's very me, because like at my own personal house, I always have candles and things that smell good. So it's just a nice way to make the classroom just feel like an extension of you, an extension of your home. I do recommend, again, I'm going to keep emphasizing making sure you're not offending anyone around you, but then also you can like help that by, oh, there's our bell to start school. It's like on a programmed thing. Making sure you're not choosing like crazy scents or like overly sickly sweet or anything like that. Like I had one that was like cinnamon and spice, which is just kind of nice, or like an apple spice, or this one is called Island Margarita. But it's just like a really like fresh citrusy scent. So that's like another little just silly tip. Okay, back to work. Another tip and trick that I learned, or like really kind of perfected, I don't know, perfected is a stretch, but worked on during this year, was one that a coworker kind of like showed me. And that was to make sure that whenever I was doing lessons, whether it was a reading block, a math block, or honestly anything, even if you're switching subjects, was to make sure that you are moving the kids around the room. By that I mean, instead of having 3 mini lessons, like 20 minutes each, all down at the same spot with the kids sitting at the carpet, do the first 15 or 20 minutes of the carpet, then move them to their desks for the next one, and then back to the carpet for the third, or have it be some type of movement one for the third. Making sure that they're never sitting in the same place for too long is key. And so I would be really strategic with my plans, and I would think about, okay, what are the 3 or 4 like reading things, for example, that I need to fit in tomorrow, and where should we start? Should we start at our carpet desk, or go the opposite way, or whatever, and just really feel out your class. Know when it's time to move wherever they are, because usually, transitions can be tough and you need to hammer those out, but still having them stay in one place for too long is not going to be good for you or for them. Another thing I wanted to talk about was classroom rewards, or like goals. So you can definitely, I think it's important, of course, to have like class points or just like rewards, things that the kids are working towards. At the beginning of the year, I would do something where the kids had this big jar of cotton balls, and every time they were caught doing the right thing, they would get a cotton ball in their jar. Problem with that is that it was pretty broad. It was a lot of gray area. And yeah, you're always gonna have like a few stragglers or whatever, or a few kids who are having a harder time like doing the thing that they need to do to get the classroom goal accomplished. But what I found that was better than just having it be like, oh, you did a good job for that 30 seconds. Does that count as a cotton ball? Or should I give it to them if they were nearly perfect for the whole 20 minutes? I don't know. Like, what I found helped was to break it down into specific goals, like that whole SMART, what's the S stand for? But it's like measurable, attainable, whatever. So one of them, and then I laminated it and hung them up. This one is like a little 10 with like a countdown. So they knew that if I were to say, all right, I need everybody in line for lunch, I want to see it in 10, 9, 8, or I want to see everybody down at their assigned spots at the carpet in 10. And they knew that if they were like in the assigned area where they were supposed to be, doing what they were supposed to be doing at that area in the 10 seconds, then they would get, we just called them stars. Like we would give a star for that particular goal. Another one was like walking in a straight line. So I had the visual there, or sitting in a nice quiet, like, circle. You could do however many or however few goals you wanted. And then what I did is we started with they needed 5 stars. And then once they earned their 5 stars, they could earn a class reward. And then I would increase it to now they needed 10 stars or whatever. And I just found that being really specific with the classroom goals was more helpful for me. And then for them, obviously, to like earn it and to kind of help motivate them. I think that's because it's primary, but honestly, for any age, I think being specific is helpful. Hey guys, it is the next day now. Yeah, I had to move over to my new school and do a lot of stuff at this school. And so anyway, I didn't end up shooting the rest of the day yesterday. I think this video definitely is going to turn more into just like a tips and tricks and things sorry, I'm trying to reach my phone. Things that I've learned along the way style vlog versus like a day in the life, because again, it's pretty hard to do that when there are no kids. So I know I was talking about the tip of making sure the kids are transitioning and not staying in any one spot for too long. Another thing I talked about was incorporating music and how I would use like piano music. And I have that Bluetooth speaker, which is like packed right now. And I really, really love that. Well, another thing that I found that was awesome and like a good way to incorporate the music was I found a cleanup song on Spotify. I will see if I can like link it down below, but I'll definitely like read to you what it is. So I love Disney, that's no shock, and I thought it would be really cute to do like Whistle While You Work, or isn't there another one for like Hi Ho from Snow White, like something that has to do with like working, cleaning, whatever. And then I found this really cute version of Whistle While You Work on Spotify. It's by Louis Armstrong, and it is from, this is the album. It's like the Disney, the Satchmo way, and it's exactly like a 2-minute song, or like basically 2-minute song. And anyway, what I would find is that when I would have the kids clean up from like choice time, from playtime, it would take a really long time. It was really hard to get them to like actually do it. They would just keep playing. I mean, and I could say things like, okay, you have 2 minutes or whatever. And it's really good to do like a visual timer or something like that. But what I found was that by just playing the same song every single day, they knew. It was so cute. They would like hum and sing the song by like the end, or, you know, pretty after hearing it several times. So they knew that they could just listen, and that was how much time they had to clean. And 2 minutes really is enough. I mean, there would of course be the occasional like, okay, there's still Legos spread out here and I'm gonna let those kids finish putting them away or whatever. But it would help kind of light a fire under them, and they knew that by the time the song was over, they were to be sitting back at their seats. So let me just play you a clip. I love it. And I love this version. It's very like New Orleans vibes.
Whistle while you work.
I like to think that that song will forever remind those kindergartners of me and of our room, because I would play that all the time. Trying to think. That's the only other tip that's like really coming to mind right now. Again, this video is kind of all over the place. It's a bit of a mess. I had been wanting to do a video like this, but I haven't really like structured it. I've just kind of had like a running list of things to talk about in my head. So I'm just kind of regurgitating them as they come. What else? Definitely some kind of, I think maybe go without saying or seem pretty obvious, but maybe are worth saying, is just really having firm boundaries is very helpful, and taking the time to establish those boundaries. I am a people pleaser by nature, and funny enough, that even translates into like little kids. You know, I just like to please people. So I spent this year really trying to figure out like myself, what my personal boundaries are and how I can best set those for the kids, and just be consistent and firm. You definitely have to be flexible as a teacher, like thinking that you are gonna forever and always stage the original plan or whatever, or not compromise. Like that's just not realistic. But I think having those firm, consistent boundaries and expectations in place are gonna help you and the kids. So that's something I'm definitely going to do next year, is to really, what are my bathroom policies? Like, can they go whenever they ask, or can they, you know, you have to know those things, because if you don't know what your expectations are, then it's not going to be easy to tell the kid. How are the kids going to know? Every group is different for sure. And next year when I'm going to be at a different school, like it'll be a whole new, you know, building and different, like it'll be very different. So again, it's a tough balance, but being able to have firm boundaries, yet also realistic, flexible expectations, I think that's really crucial. I think maybe I'll end this video here, just because I don't know if I can think of anything super pertinent off the top of my head right now. But yeah, again, I know it was kind of all over the place. I just wanted to list some tips, tricks, pointers, some things that I picked up, and I'm really excited to go into my second year of teaching. Like, I really feel like the first year is a bit of a trial run. I heard this quote that says, nobody learned anything in their first year except for me. And I mean, yes and no, that was true. And I'm just really excited to like take my ideas, take what didn't work, take what did work, and like start fresh. And of course, it's not going to be perfect or easy, and I'm not going to know everything after just this 1 year, but I'm very excited. And if there are any teachers out there or aspiring teachers who have any like comments or tips or tricks, I would love to hear. I will say that I absolutely love this job. There are days when I want to rip my hair out of my head, like truly. There are days when I'm just like, I'm horrible at this, I can't do this. What am I doing? But overall, like, it's amazing and I love it. And I'm very grateful to be a part of this. And Travis is calling me. We got to keep packing up my room. That's my cue. Thanks for watching. Love you. Bye.